If you enjoy my podcast, then please subscribe, give it a rating, and share it with other musicians. I also host another podcast, the Mike Del Ferro podcast, with travel stories, interviews with wonderful people, and more. You will find it on Spotify and all other podcast platforms, or via my website, mikedelferro.com.
Mike, you talked about the right mentality if you want a successful career in music. Please explain.
A successful career in music means 200%. It's 100% great artistry. The other 100% is mentality. If a great artist does not work, it's 95% because of a mentality problem. So what I would strongly recommend you to do is do an honest introspection with yourself. If anything fails in your mentality, are you always on time? Do you always prepare the music before rehearsals, before concerts? Are you always flexible in any working environment? So maybe you have a gig and there is a bad sound system or a bad sound engineer or a bad piano or whatever. Do you always stay flexible, or do you start arguing or being difficult? If you stop calling people because you don't want to work with them, unless it's like a musical mismatch, but if it's because of they don't show up on time or not prepared, or they're difficult or whatever, it's mostly because of a mentality problem, because you don't like their behavior.
Did you have some of those issues yourself?
I've never been very aggressive or have a bad temper. That's not my nature. But what I did mess up in the beginning when I was very young was I'm not preparing the music and look like a fool on stage or in a rehearsal room, which is very painful. I also once showed up late for a gig and they couldn't reach me, and I hadn't informed anybody that I would be late, and I arrived at the gig and there was already another pianist sitting there, so it's live and learn. And already then I realized, I'd better change these mindsets, otherwise I'm going to mess up my career. How tragic is it that if you work for so many years to take your music to a high level, blood, sweat, and tears, and people stop calling you because something is not right in your behavior, in your mindset, in your mentality. That's tragic.
So it's about personal relationships very much.
Yes.
It's about how
every time when I go to a gig or I hop on a plane, my mindset is I want to be invited again after the concert. That's the mindset. And if you go there with that kind of mindset, be flexible, be nice, deal with every situation, especially in my case, because I travel a lot to uncommon countries, exotic countries where they maybe don't have the best pianos, things like that. But I'm always flexible. I try to make the best out of the situation. And that's also something I demand from the people I play with. It's so important. If you enjoy my podcast, then please subscribe, give it a rating, and share it with other musicians. I also host another podcast, the Mike Del Ferro podcast, with travel stories, interviews with wonderful people, and more. You will find it on Spotify and all other podcast platforms, or via my website, mikedelferro.com.